Hello, and welcome to another episode of Manifesting with Feng Shui. I'm your host, Christina, and I am so glad you're here. I am just beyond excited, beyond thrilled to bring this episode to you today. Spirit wants you to know this with Jenny Shanks. I have an in-studio guest today here in Austin at Authentic Exposure Studio. So grateful, so very blessed to have Jenny Shanks here, who flew in all the way from Louisville, Kentucky. Say hi, Jenny.
Hi.
How you doing today?
I'm good. I'm so glad to be here.
So happy to have you. Spoiler alert, we're actually like filming this episode in particular out of order because the first thing that we wanted to do with Jenny is, of course, get a live reading with her. And Jenny has an incredible gift of being able to connect with loved ones who have transitioned. And Jenny, can you just repeat for me, right before filming this, right before we started to record, I invited Jenny to like set her intention for our time together. And I just said, Jenny, what is it that you really want this community to know, the people who are listening to the show today? What is it that you want them to know? And do you remember what you just said?
Yeah, that our loved ones still live on. Like, I think it's so important to realize that even when their physical body has decided to leave the earthly plane, like their soul still is very much similar and that they're still watching over us and with us.
That is so beautiful. And anyone who's dealing with any type of grief or loss, it can actually just feel so incredibly, what's the word I'm looking for? I have a podcast. I should know how to talk. I don't know. Reassuring or comforting. Comforting was the word that I was looking for. Yeah.
And knowing that they're not gone. Yeah.
It's wild. So, at the end of this episode, Jenny is going to do a live reading and, producer Logan's in the space. I'm here. Jenny's here. So when she channels spirit, anyone who's in the room, she can pick up on spirit for anyone who's in the space. In fact, you've done readings for like crowds of like over 100 people, like 300 people, right?
Yeah.
Do people just show up hoping that like spirit will come through for them?
Or they're curious. Like you'll get skeptics that are like, is that real? Like, I don't believe in that. And I love when a loved one comes through for those people because I'm like, here we go.
Well, back to your intention. Your intention is for the listener and the viewers who are watching right now to know that their loved ones live on after they leave this physical form. And if you had any doubt, you have to listen until the very end of this episode where literally like that was, I think, the biggest takeaway. In fact, Jenny, I talked about you season 7 of the podcast. I had the season premiere of the podcast. Season 7 was I hired us, and I know you don't go by psychic medium, which we could chat about, but the title of the episode was I hired a psychic, which was you, Jenny. I hired a psychic before I hired a therapist. Why you'll want both this year in the year of the snake. And go back and listen to that episode. I talked about you and my experience with you. I talked about essentially how a 30-minute reading with you, Jenny, literally gave me probably more clarity and guidance than working with a therapist for 3 months. Now, granted, I'm not knocking therapy. I still see a therapist, and I think there's a place for all of it. But I just wanted to share like how healing and powerful your readings are, because like the wisdom that comes through that spirit shares, it's like it changes the trajectory of your life, literally. It has the power to, but you also have a gift of being able to like channel spirit and then make it practical. Like this is what spirit's saying and this is what that means for you, like how you can take action on that.
Yeah, because I think we live in such a human world. I mean, we are humans. We're in this earthly plane that things that we can't see or directly hear or feel, people struggle with. Like it's hard to believe that there is this other entity in a sense, which is spirit, guiding us. And so I think it's important to like, when I bring them through, how do I put it in a way that you understand it and you can take action on it if you want, or at least hold it with you.
Well, on this show a lot, actually the season finale of season 7 was like 3 keys to follow the signs. Because I've been co-creating with the universe for years. I'm, a certified Gabby Bernstein spirit junkie. I've been really into all of that. And I think that's kind of how my work as a feng shui practitioner is maybe different from others, because I infuse that spiritual practice. Like, how do we take inspired action by following the signs? So I've been doing that for a long time. And I think that we have this like commonality there, because it's like you also are basically teaching people that like you can ask your angels and guides, or in this case, your loved ones who have passed for signs and guidance. Like, spoiler alert, like my grandmother came through in this reading today, and like she, at the very end, she's like olive trees. I'm like, okay, like got to figure out what that means. But anyway, it's just like, it's pretty incredible, that overlap. I also want to say too, sorry, like I'm just going on and on, but we haven't even known each other for a full year.
I know, no. Yeah, I listened to a podcast you were talked about. You weren't even on the podcast. They just mentioned your name and feng shui. And I was like, oh, I need to look this up. This sounds right up my alley. And then it happened to be, I think, in January timeframe, and you were launching the 12-month manifesting program. And I was like, I messaged you like, tell me more about this. Like, you know, I was in a space where I didn't feel like I could take one more thing on, but I knew I was being called to connect with you for some reason. Signed up. I had my best friend Beth sign up too. We're doing it parallel together this year, which has been a blast. But I feel like we've known each other lifetimes, and it hasn't even been a year.
It's wild.
Which is wild.
So Jenny signed up for the 12-month manifesting journey, which is like a program where I take you through an entire year. And we go through each gua, each area of your home, each area of your life throughout the year. We meet on a monthly call. And the second I found out you were a spiritual medium, I've never had a reading with a spiritual medium. I think I've seen like psychics, tarot readers, different things like that. And I just knew, like, from our interactions, that I could trust you. I also just felt like, look up Jenny Shanks on Instagram. I feel like, to me, and I'm not trying to stereotype, so this is bad, but I was just like, who is this? Like, you're like, just like, I mean, we would just like hang out together. Yeah. Like, when you think of psychic mediums, I kind of think of like the old TV shows in the 90s of like these like old ladies who are like,
people will say all the time, you don't look like a medium. I'm like, what am I supposed to look like?
I don't know. But I'm just like,
I don't have the crystal ball and I don't look witchy, I guess. Like, what is it? Yeah. It cracks me up.
Yeah. But it's just like, but your approach and like the way that you came off, I was like, I need to talk to her. And truth be told, 2025, like, I knew it was going to be like a transformational year, but I kind of like thought I knew too well what was going to happen in my life. And so, who said the saying? Is that like, hold on, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. Kind of like that. That's kind of how I feel like this year unfolded. And then John Lennon said, like, life is what happens when you're busy making other plans, right? So I feel like that's kind of like the vibe of this year. I'm like, wait a minute, that wasn't my plan. It's like, oh, well, that's because God has different plans for you. So when you are in a space of transition or confusion, desperation, I'll throw that word out there, you're kind of like grasping at like, who can I go to? Who can I talk to? And like, Jenny, you were one of those people that popped in my head, and I just was like, I knew I had to do this. You have about a 3-month wait list for private readings. So I signed up. I ended up seeing a therapist first just because she was available first. But then once I actually had the reading with you, it was just monumental, life-changing. Now, my sister had a reading with you. My best friend from childhood, Julie, has a reading with you, like, because you're the real deal.
Yeah. It's important to me to keep the integrity of spirit. And like this, if you look up mediums and the history on spiritualism and all those things, there was a lot of fraud in this world. And for me, keeping the integrity of what connecting to spirit does for people is so important. And so I have boundaries, I have ethics, I have morals around it. That is so rooted in the core of who I am. And I won't steer from that, because it is so important for me that people walk away feeling loved and lifted from a reading. Even if tough stuff comes through, I still want you to feel inspired and loved and lifted, rather than overwhelmed, exhausted, unsure, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I actually kind of had like a reading with somebody recently. It was okay, but her approach was very different than yours. And she wasn't, maybe she was psychic medium. I don't know. She does lots of different things. She could like read your aura colors and do lots of different things. And she's amazing, wonderful, but she was more definitive and like, you need to do this. You can do this. Like, don't do that. This is what's going to happen. And I just didn't really love that feeling. Part of what you do is like you share what spirit wants you to know as guidance, but you're never like definitive. I actually remember you like kind of giving, I can't like really speak directly to it because it's kind of personal, but like basically one thing that you had said to me was like, spirit doesn't know timelines.
Right.
Like they're kind of guiding you to do something, but like spirit doesn't know the difference between 2 months, 2 years, 10 years.
Right. Yeah.
And so that was really interesting.
Yeah. I also believe in free will. And that means that even though they're coming through giving you advice and guiding you on your path, doesn't mean you have to follow it all the time. And that's why I don't believe in saying like you have to go left or you have to go right, because energy doesn't work that way. Like you're not contained that if you do this, this will happen. You could follow the advice, but then something else comes your way that diverts that end goal. And so I have never felt comfortable saying to people like, if you don't do this, this will happen. Or if you do this, this will happen. I just try to approach, and that's my relationship with spirit, is to approach it with love and guidance instead of direction, like bold, deep, direct direction, if that makes sense.
Okay. This wasn't on my question card, but I'm looking at your snake earrings. I'm looking at like this episode is coming out in February, but it's coming out before the year of the horse. Yeah. So technically we're still in the year of the snake, this transformational year. I think everyone's like, goodbye. Like we are so ready to be out of this energy, but like, you know, packs a punch and there's probably some last minute shedding that's going to be going on. So I want to know, I know you're wearing the snake earrings. Could you just tell me from your perspective, what is the significance of a snake? Didn't you like see one this year when you were on a retreat in New York or something?
Gosh, I forgot about that.
Ooh, yeah.
You know, last November, so November 2024, I went in to get, I've been inching my way into a sleeve tattoo, and I was like, I want a snake, not knowing anything about feng shui or the year of the snake when this all took place. And then in January, I went back to get it finished. But leading into that tattoo last year, every time I saw a snake, I was like, I need that piece of jewelry. I need that, like all of it. And so when then you came into my field in January, I was like, this has been preparing me for all of this. So for me, the snake is all about trusting the transition while I'm shedding the old. And I feel like this year I have shedded so much.
Really?
So much.
Okay, good.
That feels good.
That makes me feel good that you're going through it too. Pretty much everyone I've talked to feels that way about this year, but it's been like, sometimes it feels really lonely going through these transitions. Yeah. Or like what happens when you're like holding on for dear life to the old version of yourself and you just can't seem to let that go and you don't shed?
No, I let that go years ago. So so what I can tell you is that by the force of nature, I was forced out of corporate world. I held on to my corporate job, even in starting my business as a medium for 5 or 6 years. And then there was a kind of a forced exit in it. And everything lined up the way it was supposed to line up. It was right before COVID. I convinced the company to give me a severance package. 2 weeks later, COVID happened. So that was 5 years ago. That was really when I was like, okay, I'm no longer holding on to things that don't make me happy, that don't bring me joy. Like, it might be uncomfortable to let it go, but it will bring me more comfort in the end.
So you're saying you have proof and from your experience that you could leave your corporate job that was probably a cushy six-figure job, benefits, the Roth IRA or whatever the heck, you know, retirement funds. Like you are living proof that you took the leap to do something that was on your heart that gave you more joy. Yeah. And you found that the money followed you.
Yeah. Yeah. I always say my best days in corporate do not compare at all to my most challenging days as an entrepreneur. Like I will take the most challenging days being an entrepreneur over working in corporate.
Ooh, we can talk so much. We're having an after party. So I have 5 guests flying in from across the country to be on season 8 of the podcast to help you through the transformational year of the snake, to help guide you and prepare you for the year of the horse that we're moving into, which we're all ready for. And tonight we're going to have like an incredible dinner together, which I'm so excited to catch up with you. As someone who works full-time in public education and also is a entrepreneur, I love connecting with other entrepreneurs and especially spiritual entrepreneurs because we are a special breed. The thing about the snake I wanted to also mention is like, did you know that the snake is a representation of the divine feminine energy and the rise of the divine feminine?
Yeah. So
I didn't really know much about that, but
yes.
I feel like that's actually really prominent this year.
Yeah. I think it's like, I think as an entrepreneur, we're so driven in this masculine energy, but really the work we do is very feminine. And how do you balance that?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do you focus on, I love what I do in this feminine energy, but in order for it to happen, I need this masculine like push behind, like that kind of thing. So for me, when the snake came in last year, it was like really calling more of my feminine energy into my field. Because as an entrepreneur, you're very driven in this masculine season.
Well, I relate so deeply to that. And like spirit, both times, so Jenny's done 2 readings for me, and both times spirit has said like you're stretching yourself wide and not growing up, and like essentially stretching yourself thin.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I was functioning in my toxic masculine energy for so long.
Yeah.
And I actually think, so this is my 4th time coming to Austin to record the podcast. And I think this might be the very first time that I actually feel like I actually slowed down, really slowed down before recording, and like didn't like push myself to
go.
Yeah. Do all sorts of things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So back to today's episode is called Spirit Wants You to Know This with Jenny Shanks. So when it comes to following signs from spirit, part of my methodology when I talk about manifesting with feng shui is I'm like, okay, your job is to set your intention and do the feng shui adjustment. And then ask the universe to fill in the details. Ask the universe to do for you what you cannot do for yourself. And sometimes what that looks like, though, is like you need to like ask the universe for a sign. And you can like, I go through this whole process of like, do I take action or inaction? And if you don't get the sign, that's just a sign, just a pause. Yeah. And honestly, my grandmother just called me out in this reading that you're about to hear in a couple minutes, which is stay tuned. Like, I feel like you're going to get so much from it. But she like called me out, like I'm not following a sign that she gave me. And I know exactly what she's talking about. And I just, God, the thing is, I just wanted to ask you, like, what is your version of this? Because I think we as humans, like we can like manifest everything, but like sometimes, have you ever heard this? Good luck is being prepared when opportunity arises, right? So sometimes that happens.
I've heard it from you.
Okay. So opportunity arises and you're just like prepared because you've been like preparing yourself to receive this.
Yeah.
And that's great. But sometimes you have to create the opportunities. Like you and I are sitting here on this podcast. Like I literally one day just like started this podcast from my home office from a free app. Like I had to create this for myself. Like there was no agency that like was like, oh, you're really great with feng shui on social media. You should come start a podcast for us and we'll pay sponsors. We'll get you sponsors. We're going to pay you to show. Like no one, did that for me. And I mean, you create the opportunities. So my point in sharing this is kind of like, I've had to feel the fear and do it anyway on so many levels as an entrepreneur. And I'm learning how to do that in other aspects of my life now too. So what is your version of how does spirit speak to us daily? And like, do you have any like tips for us on how we can like take inspired action even when we're scared and know spirit's like supporting you?
So I think there's a difference between being nervous, that inspired action and the nerves with it, versus fear. And so for me, when signs come in, some of them are just to cheer me on. Like I could go down a rabbit hole of the signs that have happened since we left Louisville yesterday and landed here. I mean, my room number is numbers that my aunt sends me. We were walking last night and the backside of the hotel has this beehive. Bees are connected to my aunt. There's just all these different things that have happened. For me, it's not that action needs to be taken from those signs, but it's just her saying, hey, I'm with you. You're in the right place. I had my whole world kind of flip upside down about a week and a half ago. So Wednesday prior to leaving, I was like, I really want to be in Austin, but I'm overwhelmed with home life right now. And to then see my aunt show up that way. So I think there's this balance of like, okay, signs are here. Trust that they're with us and just feel comfortable in knowing that. I don't necessarily always feel like signs come in to be like, go. I feel like they are there to prepare you to let you know your team is standing behind you. So when you talked about starting the podcast, for me, what that means is that they were all behind the scenes getting you to finally just take the action. Like the opportunity was there and it was like, okay, Christina, it's time. Like it's time to take this. And you just found it within you to launch it.
Mm-hmm.
When the signs then appear from that point, it's spirit saying, hey, great job. You're doing the right thing. Like you're here. It's okay. So that's exactly how I look at signs. It's a language that they're speaking to us.
Okay, so during the reading that everyone's about to hear in just a couple minutes, you talked about sometimes spirit, like you talked about like bumpers on bowling. Like how does spirit like slow you down if you're like pushing too hard or like trying to force something?
You get sick most of the time.
Oh,
like you'll get
sick.
Like, so when we talk about things happening or you're exhausted, you're feeling overwhelmed or stressed. Usually to get us to slow down, they'll do something to our physical body to just be like, whoa, you're not listening. We've given you a bunch of signs. You're not slowing down. Things are feeling more difficult. So how do we get you? What does our physical body do to slow us down? It literally gets sick. The other piece to this is that they will put things in our way. Like think about driving down the street and hitting multiple red lights or multiple stop signs or things that slow us down to get to the final point where we're aggravated as a human. We're like, oh my gosh, I can't keep driving this way or I need this to happen. I literally look at all of that as like, okay, there's a lesson here. What am I needing to do? And then really tuning into your physical body. If you are feeling worn down, tired, you just want to sleep, you don't want to go out, you want to do these things, that's spirit saying slow down, slow down. Because you just can't keep going 100 miles an hour all the time.
No, you can't. And I'm just, I can't really share specifically right now, but I'm like just analyzing my own life and just ways that like, you're just like something comes up and you're just like, really like this challenge, really? And you're just kind of like, well, it's just like further confirmation. Like you need to just move, And
if the same thing keeps happening, it's because you're not learning the lesson. Spirit will repeat like challenging experiences because you're not learning the lesson along the way. So when people are like, it keeps happening and I am trying, and I'm like, you're not listening. Yeah. You're not slowing down or you're not doing whatever spirit guided. Yeah. Or as whatever your grandma called you out on, like, like that's the thing. It's like, she's trying to get you into a different space to where you'll feel more in alignment with yourself. And you're not doing it,
These
obviously, according to her.
Grandma. They're really big things. But thank you. No, I appreciate it. Okay. So I've been like dying to ask you this question because selfishly I struggle with this. And then we're going to go into our reading because it's so good. And it's just like, I want everyone to experience Jenny for themselves.
Thank you.
I think everyone's going to like, for example, like you did a reading for my sister and of course it was like helpful because like people came through from my family that I knew, but I felt like, and the reading was very specific to what she needed, but I also felt like just as a bystander, I could like get something from it, and we'll tee that up. Yeah, we'll tee that up right now. We're already talking about it, but I have one question I have to ask you before we get into the reading. So what do you tell audiences, like when you do a reading for like 300 people, you sell out all these places, you have like a wait list for over 3 months for people to get readings from you because like you're the real deal. What do you tell people like when they're listening to other people get a reading? Like how do you
I always say that if you don't get a message directly yourself in like these big audience readings, but something comes through that just hits home, that was your team wanting you to hear that. And if your spirit doesn't come through in those readings, it's like sometimes they want private conversation. Like they don't want to be on stage either. And so I always tell people like, if it landed with you, take it with you, even if it didn't directly come from someone that you know or knew.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm going to tell you, I'm so grateful for the people who came through. I'm like, I won't ruin the surprise. I'll let them hear. One person came through for me that never came through before.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And actually I'm going to talk about him with Molly a little bit. So it's really interesting how that all unfolded.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So my question for you before we go into the reading is, how do you navigate living on this planet, being so connected to spirit? And the way I word it, and I don't know if this resonates with people, but like, has it been challenging to be so spiritual and tune in with the 5D while still living here in the 3D? Because I struggle with this a lot.
So like to me, 3D is like the materialistic world, right? It's the things, it's the items, it's the tangible experiences, it's the fear and the ego, all of that kind of stuff. Where 5D isn't, to me, it's not another world as much as it's a state of being. And that really all is love. So I have the belief that there's two feelings in life, which is love or fear. Mm-hmm. Fear is the 3D, love is the 5D, and you choose which direction you're going to let yourself be. Now, listen, I'm still a human. My husband drives me crazy. Cars on the road drive me nuts. Like, yes, I still very much, even as spiritual as I am, have these 3D moments. But when things aggravate me or I get overwhelmed, I reframe it into love. And I'll go like, what's the lesson I'm supposed to have here? Or what is the frequency of love that I can call in versus the frequency of annoyance or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And so to bridge these two worlds, years ago, I was in this meditation and this word came through a meditation that said love word. And my humanness, my 3D was like, what the hell does that mean? I wrote it down, kept finishing my meditation.
Can you spell it for us? Or you didn't know how to spell it? How did you spell it at first?
I wrote it down as LOVEWARD, love word. And so I just, a few days later, went back to spirit and I was like, okay, we're going into meditation. Tell me what this means. And I heard you must always be walking forward in life in the frequency of love. So everything I do is coming from my heart instead of my head. And that's a 5D experience. That's a 5D frequency. Because when you surround yourself with the frequency of love, you surround yourself with your intuition. You surround yourself with your loved ones in spirit, your loved ones here. You don't like the fear, the ego. I get nervous doing readings, but that's not fearful. That's just nerves. It can't get into your field. And if it slips in, I'll immediately like wrap it up and kick it out. I'm like, whoa, hold on a second, like get out of here. And so that's it. So I, at the time, had a dear friend who, talk about world shifting. I met him when I worked in medical sales. He was a doctor. He now is a musician in Nashville. He wrote a song called Love Word. His partner painted a painting. So they were sitting in their living room or their kitchen, I don't know, in their house. And she said, I'm writing the word love word down that Jenny came through in this meditation, and I'll paint and you write a song. And so I have the lyrics of the song in my office, and then she painted it, and it's in my office. And so that is like, that's in my world, how you bridge 3 and 5D. It's not going to 5D. It's bringing in the frequency. It's a being that you bring back in and live. And so love word.
And just to clarify, you said he was a doctor?
He was he was an orthopedic oncologist. That's how we met when I was in med sales.
And he left to become a musician in
We
Nashville?
all kind of left corporate all around the same time. She was a PA, a cardiologist, and he was in ortho sales or ortho doc. I was a medical sales rep with him, and we all kind of left together. Our corporate field.
I could talk to you for hours because now I'm like, oh my gosh, are we like star seeds? Are we all full family? Like why, to shift into that is just so incredible. Yeah.
So Jenny, just love word. Live life, love word. Yeah.
Thank you for that. It's like, it's so grounded in like, it's the same thing, but like a different language. Like Course in Miracles talks about that. It's either return to love.
Right.
Return to love or fear. Yeah. There's only those two things. Yeah. So
yeah.
It's so beautiful. Thank you
just
so much.
Live in love. Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to shift into this live reading. I am so excited for you to hear Jenny drop in. I'm so excited for all of the listeners in this community to experience like what it's like to back to your intention, to hear from a loved one that, because once they've passed, if you have any doubt that
yeah, believe that they're still here.
Exactly. There is no, like, you won't have doubt after listening to this reading. It's so good. But Jenny, before we go into the reading, can you tell everyone like where to find you? Anything else coming up? This episode's coming out in early February. How's it looking in 2026 for you? It's
going to be amazing, right? Yes. We're taking off. It's the year of the horse. So I live and breathe on Instagram. I love it. So you can follow me at Instagram, which is spiritual_medium_Jenny, or of course my website, jennyshanks.com.
Yeah, you're all going to love her just as much as I do. Enjoy this reading.
Yeah, thank you for this.
Thanks, Jenny.
Yeah. Okay, so there's a mail coming through. Something about her. So mail coming through. The month of August shows up. So months are birthday, anniversary, death, passings. He died tragically somehow. When I reference the word tragic, to me, it feels very quick, like unexpected, very quick. He shows me the number 77. So when numbers come through, there's either like 1977, 77 age. There's something about 77 with him showing up. And the J comes through with him. That, well, yeah, you didn't know him. That's like mom's side of the family, I'm pretty sure. So male grandfather energy, mom's side of the family, the month of August, the letter J, 77. And he's
Joseph?
accident. He died
Car
in an
accident. Yeah, it's my grandfather.
Okay. And he was the first, he says, I'm the first grandfather. Does that make sense?
Yeah, my grandmother got remarried.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And he's on a farm or something, like either grew up on a farm.
Yeah,
worked
he
on a
grew up
farm,
in Colorado on a farm.
or something like that. Oh, Colorado. I'll take that. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go. Cause he brings the female through.
Veronica.
Does she go by R at all?
Ronnie.
Oh, she has a nickname?
Yeah, Ronnie.
Okay. So R and January show up with her. But
yeah,
she
that's
says,
her birthday.
I transitioned both months. So so she was born and then passed in that. Okay. And she's crocheting or something. She likes to needle. Okay. Let's go to the needlework stuff that she does, because she keeps saying, it kept me calm. That's how she references it. It kept me calm. And I said, why did you need to be calm? And she says, my life was always kind of chaotic. And so she's asking, not telling you go patchwork or needlework, whatever she did, knit, but to find a modality that keeps you calm. So and then he jumps in. He was a really hard worker. He was in the military too, I think, because he keeps saluting. So when he salutes, so she says, keep me calm. When he salutes, he keeps saying, you're stretching yourself too wide. There's this
gotten that message a couple times recently.
Oh, you're not listening, sister. Okay.
Sorry, I don't know what to do. Do they have any suggestions?
Yeah, you've got to inventory life. And what is bringing you joy and what is not bringing you joy, and what needs to be deleted that's not bringing you joy. So here's the thing, like money follows joy. It doesn't follow discomfort. So even if we do something that is profitable in a sense, but it doesn't bring us joy, like ultimately, like I call that dirty money basically, because ultimately it's not going to fulfill us. It's not going to continue to work the way that it needs to work, if that makes sense. First of all, she also loves to, she's like a nosy little bee body. She's like, I love to like check in on everyone. She was always like checking in on people all the time. And she says, I'm here to check in on you because you're not catching the signs from me and listening to the signs.
Okay.
So when a sign comes through, what do you do?
Usually I've taken action on some of her signs because she gave me signs last time I talked to you.
Okay.
But yeah, I didn't.
But are you,
the last one I kind of hesitated
when he
on.
brings through the stretching yourself thin, even if you're taking her signs and taking action on them, are you still feeling exhausted? Like there's this whole feeling of like, I'm exhausted.
Well, yeah, I'm pretty exhausted.
So the feeling I get, okay, so he worked on a farm because he's showing me like sun up to sundown. And these are everything was very logical. Like there was this very like, you got to get here to here to like milk the cows and you got to do that, whatever. So when that all comes in, there's this really clear message about starting to look, even though he talks about it in a logical way, but looking at life more in this intuitive path that lets you align with the things that bring you joy over the things that you feel like you have to do in order to be. And that starts to remove things out of your life that feel heavy and hard. And you'll start to see more of grandma. She goes, I'm there. She's so spunky. She's got this like fun energy. She goes, I'm there. I'm there all the time. She goes, there's days that she'll say like, where are you? And I'm like, I'm here. You're just not listening. So take a step back and see how you can slow down a little bit in order to get to where you want to go. And some of this has to do with work. I mean, she shows me the money symbols. So when money symbols come through, to me, that is a sign of like whatever's being done to bring income into our life feels a little bit heavy right now. So like if there are things you're doing connected to work that feels exhausting, like maybe reflect on how to.
Does she want to elaborate on any of the signs that she's given me that I've ignored? Can she?
Well, he's coming through a 7-7. 7-7-7-7. There's a whole thing about sevens with him. So I would see if either the year 1977 makes sense to him. Was he 77?
My husband was born in 1977. He died when I was in 7th grade. No,
Oh.
7th grade. Yeah.
Do you know how old he was when he transitioned?
Oh, maybe he was 77.
I wonder.
Honestly.
I think it might be tied more to him. I don't really feel a connection. He doesn't really talk about your husband. It feels more connected to him.
That might make sense that he was 77 years old because he was 7 years. No, he was 7 years older than my grandmother. I don't know if that has something to do with it.
Grandma's energy comes through really like excited, intense. Like she's there. She's your cheerleader. She's, ready to like pump you up. He comes in more level-headed. Mm-hmm. So when you start to see the 77s, it would tell me that you're probably monkey minding something and you need to get out of your head and get into the space of like trusting it. He talks about there being a change with work specifically.
Really?
Obviously you do a couple of things, so it'll be
I do a couple of things here.
It'll be interesting to see like what falls into place, but it feels like something needs to be removed in order to start to like feel the joy again.
Okay.
I know.
I love when spirit gives me guidance like that.
I know. And people will freak out when the message is they need to be removed because they get scared of the money going down. But really the money will follow your joy at the end of the day. There's another spirit coming through too. She's a female. This feels like dad's side. So there's a female coming through. The letter B shows up with her. She is, I'm pretty sure, connected to dad's side of the family. She talks about the month of November. She, I think, had a stroke or something. Something about, but she owned like a food mart or something.
That's my grandmother.
Bonnie.
Yes.
Oh my God. Are you okay if I talk to her?
Yes.
Okay. I always feel like I have to ask permission because like if you don't want to hear from her. So she owned a business or something because she keeps talking, but like this is so interesting. She was in the building the business was in even after the business closed or something?
So they ran a ma and pa store out in the country. And when the business closed, they remodeled it into their home and moved into it.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Because she keeps saying something about people still showed up to my home in that space. Okay, there's such a clear message coming. And Lewis or something? Who is Lewis?
That's my grandfather.
Okay, is he transitioned?
Yes, they both have.
They both have, but she's the leader of the pack. It feels like she was like the boss in a sense. Okay, let me go with her. I feel like he has things he wants to say, but she specifically talks about how she says it's okay to, let me make sure I say this right. It's okay to pause life in order to go back to you. So there's this feeling of like, I feel like she's trying to tell me you're like on this quest to search. You're like searching for something like within yourself. Let me get a little more clear on this. It feels like internally I'm searching for something and I can't find it. And I keep trying to search and I keep trying to search. And she says it's within you, but you're constantly going out to look for the answers without going in. And she's saying it's okay to pause to get back to like your heart space. She also keeps saying, stop being so hard on yourself. Tell me if I need to slow down or stop, okay? You're like putting pressure on yourself, according to her. Like in the world of masculine and feminine, where it's like the men do this and the women do this. She keeps saying you're putting pressure on yourself to be the man, quote unquote. But like, there's this other side to you that wants so deeply to come out that you're feeling like you feel very good in it when it's just you. But then when it's with other people, you feel like you've got to kind of put this other facade on in a sense. And she says, Logan, I need you to know we love you for you and just you and not anything else about you. in that space. So if you're feeling like there's hats you have to wear or titles you have to have or perceptions to make others whatever, like remove all that and get back here ultimately. And she's very clear on stop feeling like you've failed. She says you've just begun is how she brings that through. She's sweet, but there's a little spiciness to her too.
Yeah.
Like I feel like
her.
she would crack a whip if she had to, but also she has this very delicate way of sharing things. Your grandfather comes through more like military, like pants up, buckle up, move on, where she comes in like, yeah, but it's okay for him to feel and it's okay for him to shift and it's okay for him to do this. Grandpa comes through more as a protector. So know his role in your world in this spirit human relationship is protecting you. Grandma's guiding you. And those are two completely separate things. So I often call like our guiders, which I feel like your grandma's a good guide too. The way she comes in, they're like our bumper lanes on a bowling alley. Like they're the ones that are like, if we detour a little bit, that's further from where we should be going or where we want to go, they'll put the bumpers up. And the bumpers can feel hard. Like think about a bowling ball hitting it. It like bounces off. So if we all of a sudden feel like we're going between things or we're struggling with decisions or whatever, it's because those guards are up and they're trying to keep us back on path. And so it's like, how do we surrender to trust the intuition ultimately to be our guide in that? And that's what her role is in your life. Yeah, she's really cool. She keeps saying something about Indiana. Is there a connection to Indiana with her?
I mean, yeah, they moved from Indiana to Idaho. They're from Indiana.
Oh, that's the roots
Fort Wayne, Indiana. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, maybe there's a reason she wants you to go. Is their family still there? Is there a connection to Indiana at all?
There might be some distant cousins.
Yeah, okay.
Like, yeah.
Maybe, spirit can see further than us, can speak further than us. So like there could be something that in a couple months, like something in Indiana pops up and it's like, oh, that's why she brought that in. But I always say, don't get fixated on those things because some of it comes true and some of it doesn't make any sense. Or we divert to where it doesn't come into our field at all. Wait, what was Grandma's name? Ronnie.
Yeah. Any final words? Because I don't want to.
She keeps saying something about reconnect. So there's two pieces. Reconnect with people that bring you joy, but also be okay with letting people go that aren't filling your cup. And it feels like there's like not past life. I'm still talking about the present lifetime you're in when I say past life, like when your younger years, there's a feeling of the younger years. Some of those people are true anchors for you and in
a good way. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Sometimes going back to our younger years brings out that playfulness. That's where she's going with this. It's like getting fun again.
Keep getting that message too.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Like having fun and being fun and literally just get fun again. Like have fun. Yeah. And all the choices you're making now, look, I think in our feng shui world, we know now planting something now is for the future, right? Like we understand all that. But in the woo-woo world, really, it's like taking the experiences that are happening now to trust that they're evolving you into something that you're needing to become and not trying to figure that out. That's the real hard part.
Yeah.
Because people always want the black and white answers. That's the 3D, the logic, right? Like really living in a world that you just know that everything's happening because it's creating this better version of you. She loved to know what was going on with everyone. So when she brings that through, it's almost like she's asking you to like pick up the phone and call an old friend.
Yeah.
That's really where, and there's something within that that's supposed to help either spark something in you, shift you, change you, motivate you, something like that. Yeah.
Okay. I love that.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jenny.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Jenny.
You're welcome, Logan. Yeah.
Yeah, you're amazing.
I'm really glad that she prepped you on that. Cause like she said, well, if he's there, will something come through? I'm like, I can't control him.
I'm here for it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was beautiful. And like, I'm telling you, like, you're just so gifted and it's really wild to experience it and witness it.
Yeah.
And I think that some of the messages that you shared today are going to like inspire other people too. Cause I think the messages that spirit brings through are just a really higher level and just beautiful. So
I always say that like, if you don't get a message in an audience style reading, like, but something came through that fits, that's how you were supposed to hear it. Like, you know, she keeps talking about olive trees too. Does that make sense?
There's one right behind us, right?
Is that
well, they're fake, but yes, there are some olive trees.
Does she like the olive trees?
There's going to be something about olive trees that are going to be a sign from her. Yeah.
Grandma.
So
okay. I mean, she gave me the sign of 3s and triangles, and I have pretty much followed most of the signs. Okay, so there was one thing that I hesitated on. Oh, that was it.
That's okay. I mean, look,
I would say it was a big one.
They decided to like leave us on this earthly world. So, you know,
they left
like
us.
It's okay. I always say like, it's okay. So here's the thing. We can get like 3s and triangles all the time, but at some point they kind of like, we're kind of like, okay, I got it. I see the triangle. You're around us. So then they want to start to show new things. I would also look up, I don't know what the spiritual meaning of an olive tree is or olives.
Okay.
But I would look that up and see if that fits too.
Oh, so she just like popped in one,
yeah,
one
right.
more
As
thing.
you were talking, she was like, hold on.
Trees.
Can you talk about olive trees? Yeah.
Okay. Well, she's, you know, I love it. But it's so interesting because I've had a reading with you before and my paternal grandmother came through, Dorothy, and she was very specific and she was like, check on Jeffrey. That's my father. She was so clear. But then like Grandma Veronica comes through and she's like, tell her 3s and triangles. And I'm like, oh, well, what do you mean? Like, why are you speaking in code?
Yeah.
But what I have found is like through that message, I've paid attention when I hear about 333 or triangles or whatever. And it's just like, I feel like signs in some way are like the gift that keeps giving in a way.
Well, it's their language. So people ask me all the time, like, we speak English, they speak signs, right? And so when like, it's like sign language. It's like understanding and learning it, but also just trusting it. So when you have a spirit that comes through with a direct message, like your first grandma did, that's her role. Like her role was to check on who did you say she said to check on? Jeff or something?
Yeah, Jeff.
Yeah, okay.
My dad.
Like there was a very clear action she wanted you to take. That's her role. Where you've got your grandmother, Ronnie, who is more of this like guide. So they're never going to tell you go left, go right. They're never going to say, make this action, do this thing. They're going to give guidance to make sure that you're on your path. Because if they tell you left or right, what ends up happening is you end up feeling like you can only listen to them and you lose sight of believing in yourself. And they don't want you to do that. Like you're here to have the earthly experience, not them. They're here to help guide the earthly experience. So her role is a guide, really, ultimately in your life. Yeah.
Well, I cannot wait to find out more about these olive trees.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jenny, for being here today. You're just such a gift and I appreciate you so much. And
thank you.
Everyone else, I will see you next time where I'll help you design the life you deserve. See you soon.